Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest, Chapter 108. When we last left our heroes, Natsu and Suzaku were sort of forced to watch as Ignia and Selene went at each other. Natsu initially, wanting to join in the fight, before he started, violently flashing back to Ignia's death back at Tartaros. And as the fight wore on, Ignia became aware of the fact that Natsu's having these violent PTSD flashbacks. So it's nice that we're dealing with that at last. And he takes sort of lull in the fight to just rip a fire blast through Selene in a manner that's so similar to Ignia's death that feels like an intentional parallel, and I do believe Selene might be dead now. So yeah, that's where we left off. Natsu roaring in rage and more loss of life. So yeah, let's dive right on in. Chapter 108, The Earth's Awakening. And our picture here is of Natsu, Lucy, and Happy at a food stall, enjoying themselves, not dealing with the trauma of what's going on in the labyrinth. Smack your lips over some yummy odin. Just try not to burn yourself. And we pick up where we left off, with Selene smoking, blood coming out of her mouth. We don't quite get any, motion one way or the other to see if she's, falling or anything. But, we see Suzaku and Happy just stunned. Ignia, gloating. Smoke pouring out of his mouth in, triumph. And Natsu roars, "Ignia!" And Ignia looks down at him. "Beating the 5 dragon gods is what you were after, right? You should thank me for killing one for you." Which is a fair enough point from Ignia's standpoint, though I don't think Natsu really wants to kill any more dragons than he has to. But he goes on, "But what, were you on Selene's side too?" But Natsu just trembles. "It doesn't matter to me who beats you or Selene. But killing a comrade like that makes me sick." And Ignia kind of correct, this is a weird thing for Natsu to say, after all that last chapter did to sort of, stress the parallels between this and the climax of Tartaros. To make this about some weird kind of betrayal thing doesn't really work. Both because it sort of drops the ball on all of that setup, which I hope is not a sign that we're actually just going to ignore all that. But also, as Ignia points out here, she's no comrade of mine. If I had any comrade or whatever, the only one would be Dogramag. And then we hear a voice. "Oh, a comrade?" And Suzaku looks around. "That voice!" And Happy, "Where'd it come from?" And Selene, who's still clinging on to life, mutters out, "It cannot be." And the labyrinth begins to shake. The chapter is titled The Earth's Awakening. I think this might be Dogramag. We come back to Gray, Urza, Wendy, and Gajeel. Urza's still unconscious on Gray's back. "What the?" And Wendy comments, "The whole labyrinth is shaking." And Gajeel, "More like it's falling apart." And Lily chimes in, "What now? Should we escape?" But Carla stops them, "But we haven't found Natsu, Happy, and the others yet." And we come back to Loxus, Lucy, and Virgo, also feeling this rumbling. "What is it this time?" And Virgo is just too into this. The ropes are digging into my skin." Like I said before, Virgo seems a lot more, actively erotic in 100 Years Quest, which ties in with my issues with Eden Zero I've gone into in the past. But just then, someone, I'm guessing Kirin, approaches them. "Found you." And Virgo and Loxus turn around, and yep, it's Kirin ready for his rematch. Loxus just doesn't really have time for this. "You." And Kirin just tells him, "Time to end this. Are you still on about that?" But Kirin is still, ready to go. "With the labyrinth about to collapse, nothing matters to me more than ending this." I will say, I enjoyed their little clash initially, and I thought the way they left off earlier in the arc, set the stage well for, a rematch that would be fun and good and grounded in character work. But, I think the work was done for them to both sort of desire a rematch. I don't think the work was done for it to make sense that Kirin values rematching Loxus over his own life. They don't know each other that well. They had met for, 20 minutes tops in their little clash. It's weird. But either way, Loxus is ready for it. He tells Virgo, "Go. There's no harm in dealing with a dumbass every now and then." And Virgo tells him, "Right away. I shall dutifully carry the princess above ground." And with that, Loxus and Kyrian are alone to continue their rematch. As Kyrian tells him, this is a fight between the strongest in both our guilds. And Loxus tells him, when you put it like that, I'm not going to lose. And then we leave them alone for now to focus back on Ignia and the rumbling Labyrinth. And Dogramag's ghost, question mark? Whatever Dogramag is right now, says, you haven't come to my grave in 100 years, and we're still comrades. And Ignia, maybe he's not happy to hear Dogramag right now, if Dogramag seems to have, betrayed him. And Celine just mutters, that voice, Dogramag, and something is rising from the ground. What looks kind of like a fist, maybe? I'm not sure. Stunning Natsu, Happy, and Suzaku, Ignia just kind of grins at it. And, we see Dogramag. Not dead. Back to life? Question mark? I don't know. But we see him. He's, made of bricks, which fits his earth themes, in a way that contrasts him from, say, Alderaan in his wood themes. He's, made of stone, which fits the whole Labyrinth vibe. And Natsu's just stunned at this new arrival. A dragon? And Ignia sort of mocks him. Why visit the grave of a guy who's still alive? And Dogramag tells him, thanks to Elefseria, I've been asleep for way too long. Hey there, brother. And Ignia looks down at him, been a while, Dogramag. And Suzaku's just as confused as I kind of am. What is this? Was Dogramag not the dragon who created this labyrinth? Which, I don't know how this is happening. I could not explain all this to you if I tried. Because I thought that it was Dogramag's heart. No, it was Elefseria's heart that... Fuck, I don't remember how the labyrinth came to be. It was Dogramag's corpse, right? Isn't the labyrinth his corpse? Something like that? Apparently not, because he's got a body that's far smaller than the labyrinth. I don't know. Maybe I remember back when we first came to the labyrinth, Elefseria expressed a bit of confusion that the labyrinth even existed. Dogramag died, and the labyrinth existed. And he gave this sort of, in retrospect, maybe a little flimsy excuse. Maybe it was his, in death, his magic leached into the earth. But now it seems like Dogramag was actively doing something. As he tells Ignia, it's finally ready. And Ignia responds, yeah, I know. We start the plan at the promised place. They're going into full-on shonen villain speech. All promised place and vague terminology. But that gets Happy's attention as he's confused. But Dogramag tells him, you go on ahead. Huh? I haven't woken up in 100 years. Gotta stretch my body. And it looks like tons of tasty humans got in the labyrinth. Okay. So it looks like we're setting up Dogramag as the true villain of this arc, which I guess makes sense given that this is the Dogramag labyrinth. But I don't know. So my thing is, I don't know what's going to happen from this, right? Because if he's the arc villain, it makes sense that he would maybe fall here. That he would maybe, it's not like Celine who found a new opportunity and just left Elefseria back during the Elefseria arc. Dogramag just sort of wants to eat for a bit, and then he's gonna there's no reason he'd leave until he's finished eating everyone, unless he realized he was outmatched, but not so outmatched that he lost or something. I don't know. And it'd be weird, given that Dogramag is now suddenly placed to join Ignia as maybe the main villains of 100 Years Quest. It'd be weird for him to be outmatched by the gang on his first appearance. So, from a storytelling standpoint, he will win this conflict. He will win, and he will fly off to Ignia. But I don't know why he wouldn't just kill Fairy Tail when he wins. Right? I can't work out why that would happen. I don't know. Something to think about more when it comes, I guess. And Ignia tells him, do what you like. But don't kill that one. Pointing, of course, at Natsu. He's my prey. And, of course, we see Natsu glaring up at them. And Dogramag looks down. Oh, so that's the human Ignia raised. I get it. No wonder why you said that. And Ignia tells him, listen up. I don't care if you kill all the other humans here. But killing Natsu is totally off limits. What about beating him up? Do what you want. Just don't kill him. I want Natsu to see the world we're gonna make. Okay, so they want to remake the world in some way? Alright. like, that line feels a little more than just, we're both in some ways the sons of Ignia. I want to be the one to take him down. It seems a bit more pointed, and I don't know why. I don't know what exactly his goal is here. But Dogromag agrees, you got it, brother. And Ignia flies off. Natsu runs after him. Wait, Ignia! Happy, after him! But Dogromag gets in his way. Whoa there! And I love this panel. Like the way Dogromag looms over Natsu, all silhouette, all like shadows for most of his body. If you want to chase him, go ahead. But I'm gonna eat every human here. Excuse me. You won't regret it, will you? If I only beat Dogromag when I had the chance. And Natsu, attention has changed. He's focused on Dogromag now. Ha 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 ha. You're like an open book. Well, the results are the same either way. You can't beat me, can you? But I know how strong you are. And this energy radiates off of Dogromag. I use Elefseria's heart to gather intel in these past 100 years. And he shrinks down into his human form. As Happy reacts, he's turning human. And we see him. He's very muscular, dark skin, got dreadlocks going on. Maybe I can't use my real power right after waking up. But you might actually be a good match for me. And he now faces Natsu in his full on in his human form, full page. You see him, and honestly, he looks neat. He's shirtless. He's got this sort of I think the sort of explosion looking scar that might be where Elefseria dealt that supposedly fatal blow. But he's also got this circle, necklace of stones tattooed into his chest. He looks cool. He's got stone scales on his face. Now bring it, Natsu. I am the Earth Dragon God, Dogromag. So I do see a way, though, in this line on 17, that might reveal how Natsu can win this fight without completely eliminating Dogromag as a villain. He has this bit about can't use my real power right after waking up. That seemed like a way that we can excuse a seeming Natsu victory here without removing Dogromag from the playing field, maybe? I don't know. But Natsu just stares him down, and Dogromag tells him, I am this labyrinth's creator. I am the labyrinth itself. And then we cut to outside with Tokage, which I think actually is his name, right? The crow guy, whose name I always forget. I think it's Tokage. Let me see if I'm right with a quick little wiki search. No, I was wrong again. One day I will learn this crow's name. It won't be today. But he calls, Elefseria-sama! Thank goodness, you're alive! Elefseria's up, despite the fact that his heart was seemingly destroyed by Ignia. Which is interesting. Dogromag, he used my heart as a catalyst to store his own life force? If so, then why did he create the labyrinth? What are you trying to do, Dogromag? To be continued. So I think, okay, I'm going to take a minute and work out this last page. I think what Elefseria is getting at here, and I may be off, don't get me wrong, but I think what Elefseria is trying to do here is say that, so what happened, I think, is that Dogromag somehow stored his soul inside the heart, I guess, or some essence of himself, I guess the soul. And then I don't know, which allowed him to use the heart to gather intel for 100 years, as he tells Natsu. And then when Ignia destroyed the heart, I guess that freed Dogromag and somehow brought the heart back to Elefseria. That's the thing that doesn't quite work for me. It feels like we're missing something there. I'm not sure why destroying the heart would put it back to Elefseria, reviving him. I don't know. We'll have to see what all comes of that later, I guess. Let's talk the rest of the chapter, though. Because I'll confess to being a little disappointed. The stuff we get is good. But the stuff that was teased last chapter, and now seems to just sort of be nothing more than a tease, is a little disappointing. The way last chapter framed this fight as sort of an echo of Ignia and Acnologia, and the way that, tied into Natsu just, like, utterly panicked, it felt like that was important. Like we would actually maybe be dealing with some kind of trauma from Natsu watching his father die. And don't get me wrong, we don't have to explore that kind of storyline. Machinima is under no, orders to explore, especially all these years later, the fallout of Natsu watching his father die. This was 7 years ago, he hasn't done it yet, he's under no obligation to do it. But, like, the problem, I think, is that he teases it at all. If last chapter hadn't been like, this is just like my, if it hadn't all those flashbacks to Ignia, it wouldn't have bothered me that we don't deal with that at all this chapter. But because it's there, it feels like that was kind of the point, part of what last chapter was trying to do. And now that's all just kind of ignored, which is a shame. It really is. It could have been really interesting, or it could have never been brought up at all, but Machinima chose to bring it up and then not do anything with it. Which, I don't know, it just, I'm a little disappointed there. That killing a comrade makes me sick is just, I could maybe read that as Natsu, trying to ignore the actual cause of his frustration, the Ignia flashbacks, but that's a stretch. That is one hell of a stretch. That being said, the stuff we get is really good, We'll see how the Lox's Kyrian stuff goes. I think that could be really fun, even if it kind of feels like a sideshow at this point, because the real drama is here with Dogramag, who is very much not dead. So no more 5 dragon gods, have to actually deal with the fact that there are 6. Though I suppose with Alderaan dead and Mercphobia sealed, it's 4, and Selene may be dead, it's 3. But still, my point being, Dogramag is here, and he sure seems like he and Ignia are the big bads. Though, of course, who knows what the hell Vierness is going to do. Vierness is still, attached to all this in some way. Or, Vierness is still a threat we'll have to deal with. Whether or not that's tied into the world Ignia and Dogramag want to make is a whole other question. I don't know. I'm going to actually go with a quick little crack theory. Don't expect this to be right, because I don't really expect it to be right. But I want Natsu to see the world we're going to make. I kind of want to tie that in to Ignia's line to Selene at the beginning of their fight. When, Ignia's like, what an ass, siding with humans. And Selene's, the Age of Dragons is over. And I think Ignia's direct line might be, it's only just begun. I'm going to see if I can find the actual line. I think it's in 106. Let's see. Because the Age of Dragons is over. Yeah, and then Ignia says, nope, it's only just beginning. So actually, I might be right here. I might be right. He might be planning to, turn the world into a bunch of dragons? Maybe? It's a stretch, and there's not a lot of evidence for it beyond, one throwaway line a couple chapters ago. But it is a possibility. And Selene seems to know what his plan is. I'm actually going to go back to that and see if the bit where he's like, you seem to know what I'm doing, is before or after that line. No, it's a bit before that line. So maybe it's not. I don't know. Selene doesn't want it to happen, but we still just don't know what the line is. Maybe if Selene, manages to hold on for a split second until the end of the Dogramag fight, she might give some kind of reveal about that. Because she doesn't want it to happen, and she's dying, so maybe she sees Natsu as her best hope or something in stopping Dogramag and Ignia. I don't know. So, there's a lot of interesting things here, even if I find the dropping of the PTSD storyline last chapter teased a little disappointing. But now, Dogramag is here. He's about to fight Natsu, not to the death, but, just to fight him. I don't know. We'll see what all comes of that. Along with Loxus and Kyrian, which is also going on. There's this question. It seems like Elefseria believes that the Labyrinth is tied into the plan. Maybe the Labyrinth was just a way to, sit tight for 100 years or something. No, unless Dogramag, I think Dogramag didn't even want to be woken up. He wasn't, stalling for time or anything. So it wasn't like he wanted to, let me sleep for 100 years so I can get all this intel or something. The Labyrinth does seem to be kind of detrimental to Dogramag's goal. as far as we know of, well, at least what little we know of it. So there's a lot of questions here. We'll see what's going on with Dogramag and Ignia in the future. But first, it looks like we're going to have to deal with Dogramag as an opponent, at least like a weakened opponent, first thing. And that looks pretty fun. I can't wait to see what all comes of that next time. So with that said, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you'll enjoy the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe or, do whatever makes you happy, And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!